Hey guys, I'm going to make a quick video here in regards to what we're covering today, just to go over some of the concepts while I'm away. Over the next few days, we're going to be taking a look at a couple libraries, just 1 or 2 days each. One of them is going to be the PIL library, another one's going to be the T-Kinter library, and eventually we'll take a look at a few more over the next few days. The first one we're going to look at here is called the PIL library, sometimes called PILO, that's what it's short for. And basically, you can read right on your screen, it's an imaging library that basically adds some capabilities to the Python interpreter. So what it really does is it looks at pixels, which is kind of what we talked about again, that sort of RGB layout of a pixel, that little tiny square of a color on a screen. And so kind of going back to kind of big high level picture here, basically things like Photoshop and other things like that, great softwares, how do they actually get created? How do they actually happen that when you click on that it does that thing? So Photoshop essentially is a graphical user interface. It's a software, and it's written in a language like Python or Java or JavaScript. I'm not entirely sure what it's written in, but it's written in some high-level language like the one we're using. And we know now that those high-level languages were sort of built on the backbones of these low-level computer assembly languages, which is basically kind of just that line-by-line stuff that the computer interprets. And below that, we have binary and then the CPU. So kind of going all the way up and down the ladder here, you would work in sort of this level, this realm, and people that make the software are working in this realm. But essentially we're going to go a little bit deeper today and kind of look at how things happen and how an image gets sort of altered behind the scenes. And so kind of get back in here again, here's kind of the old Olympics picture, some of you might remember that. We're talking about pixels. Now this isn't a perfect representation because obviously there's more than one color in each one of those pixels. It's kind of drawn out to be a little easier to look at and understand. But basically you break an image up into pixels, and that's what a computer is looking at. And so a pixel can be a location. Now the location is a little different than math. In math we would normally go kind of X and then Y. It's kind of going from the top. So this is kind of your 0, 0, and this is your X, and this is your Y. And so it's going to kind of go like if I were going to say 100, 100, that might be over 100, down 100. So you're not going to have negative numbers. So it's a little odd, kind of looking at it from that. Obviously you have your height and your width, and that's going to determine like how many pixels are in an image. The more pixels, the better it looks. So to get at the actual programming here, we're going to go ahead and bring up Python, and we'll pull up our editor, and we're going to go ahead and create a new file. And so what we'll do here is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open a picture. So what I've done is I've kind of pulled up here, let me actually get this better on the screen. Let me pull this up. I want to pull up a picture of Milton, and I'm going to download a picture of Milton here. I'm going to download this one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll just go ahead and save image as. I'm going to call it Milton. I'm going to throw it on my desktop, and it's a JPEG. And so right now on my desktop, go ahead and minimize everything, just about. Here's that picture right there. And another thing I'm going to do, which is different than what we've done before, I'm going to create a new folder on my desktop, and I'm just going to call it PIL, pillow, and I'm going to drop that into it, okay? Because today we're actually going to be looking at files on our computers. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to write a first program here that's going to open up the picture in that folder. So I'm going to write from PIL import image. Okay, so that's how you have to import the library, the PIL library. If you look online, you might see some different stuff, a little different connotation, but that's what I'll be using for our examples. And I'm going to go ahead and say file name equals milton.jpg. That's the name, the actual name of our file. Whatever file you choose, it has to be the exact name with the exact file extension in quotes. And then I want to say im equals image.open file name. Now im can be whatever we want. You can say, X, Y, and Z. I just use im because that's generally what I see in examples online. And then I'm going to say im.show. Now, one of the things I've already done, which you'll need to do, is you need to click on this right here, and you need to change your working directory. we want to change our working directory to the folder that's on your desktop that you've created. That way it's pointing right to that folder. And then I can go ahead and click choose. If I didn't do that, this would have to be the absolute path of the file name. So I'd have to go, users, shaver B, desktop, PIL, that type of thing. So with me changing this, I can make this a little simpler. And so let me go ahead and run the code right now, and everything should be okay. And it looks like, yep, here's my picture right here. And so yours should open up without any major issues. And if you get a mistake, go ahead and read the error message. But that's essentially what it should do. Okay. And there's other things we can do with this. So let me pull up my notes here. Like we can go ahead and say a couple things. So right now I'm going to comment out showing because I don't want the picture to load every single time. But there's certain things, certain commands, for example, like I can say print im.size. And so if I go ahead and run that down below, it's going to tell me that it's 447 by 392. So that's how many pixels it was. And if I actually look at it here, let's see if I can go to get info. It's actually going to tell me at 447 by 392. Okay, and it's also telling me that it's RGB, which we'll look at here in a second, and we'll kind of have a command for that. I can say print im.size. I can also say print im.format. If I do that, it's going to tell me it's a JPEG. I can say, and again, I'm just commenting these out to make it simpler to understand, print im.mode. And it's going to tell me it's RGB, red, green, blue. So it's not a PNG. If you had done a PNG file, it might be RGBA. So those are the different things we can see there. Okay. Another thing I can do is I can start to do some alterations to that file. So let me go ahead and comment this out. I can go ahead and resize the file if I want. So I can say im2 equals im.resize, and I'm going to make it 100 by 100, make it a square. And then I can say im2.save resized.jpg. And so what that's going to do is it's going to, let me make sure, I got to tell me this is wrong because I got to put that in quotations. I'm going to resize that file to 100 by 100, and then I'm going to save it as resized.jpg. Why don't I also, while I'm at it, show it? Okay, and so I'll go ahead and run that. Everything looks okay. You can tell it's a little smaller. It's a square. And if I go in the folder, I should be able to see now two images there. So I've got Milton and now I've got resized. So again, just kind of a basic thing. You can crop different things. So I'll go ahead and comment these out as well. Oops. So I can say I want to crop the image. So im3 equals, let's say im dot crop, and let's say I want to crop just a small square. So this is my x1, y1, x2, y2. So it's kind of creating a square around that image. And let's see, do I have that right? Let's see, im3.show. Let's see how that goes. Whoops. Looks like, let me double check. I might need an extra set of parentheses here. Okay. And so it created a small cropped square, and that square must have just been a small white part of that image. So very basic cropping, and I could have saved that if I wanted to as well. Go ahead and let's do a simple comment of that out. And it didn't save that one because I didn't tell it to. I can go in here and see, oh, it didn't save that. Okay, what if I want to know what a pixel color is? So if I want to see what the actual pixel is of a certain coordinate. So what I need to do here is I need to do this. I need to write pixels equals im.load. I have to write that command. And then what I can do is I can say color equals pixels, and let's say I want the pixels of the coordinate 50, 50. Okay, and then what I can go ahead and say is print color. And again, this is my this is my original image here. Let's go ahead and run that. And down here, it's going to tell me that color was 248, 248, 250. That's RGB. So 50, 50. Again, I'm really estimating here. I'm not entirely sure where that is. But let's see. I remember this was what I can't remember exactly what the size of this was. 447 by 392. So 50, 50 might be somewhere in this region. Hard to tell exactly what that is, but you kind of get the idea here. I can actually print a color. Now what I also can do is I can change a color. So I can go in here. I'm actually going to leave this one in, pixels equals im.load, except this time I'm going to say pixels, let's say I'm going to make it 1010 equals, I'm going to set it equal to a color. So I'm going to do again, I can go back to like an RGB site, but I'm just going to make it, let's make it yellow. So all red, all green, no blue. And then I'll go ahead and im.show. Let's see how that looks. And you're going to say, well, that didn't do anything. There's nothing there. If you zoom in, well, did it do that? Maybe yellow is a bad choice. Oh, no, there it is. Okay. So if I zoom way in, I have set that small, that's how small a pixel really is. I have set that small pixel to a yellow color. Zoom way out, it's hard to even see, but you see how you might be able to loop and create a whole line. You could easily write a for loop to create an entire line setting the pixel 1010 equal to yellow. Okay. There is the ability to also grayscale a picture. I'll put that in notes. You can create entirely new images. I'll do that one really quickly. So I'm going to say from PIL import image. I can say let's say 5 equals image.new. I can say it's going to be RGB, and I want it to be 200 by 200. And I'll go ahead and say im5.show. Click on that, and it's just simply a blank black background, nothing really there. Again, you could alter certain things, so now I can go ahead and start adding pixels to the blank image if I wanted to. So that's something simple I can do. And again, once again, I'll put a few more things in the notes where I post them, and I'll also put an assignment that I want you to do as well in regards to some simple basic pixel editing, and I'll have you create some variables and do some adjustments on the side.